Is starting. What's going on? We'll just wait for a little while before I officially do the intro because Roman's not here with me. Usually I have a co-host, Adam, and he's not here at the time. But we usually sing to start our show, so I'm gonna sing by myself, and I'm gonna require that you sing as well.
What are we singing?
We just sing whatever comes to you during the intro. You'll see. I'll start it off. You'll see.
Okay.
All right. Let's get some viewers and then we'll wait. What's going on, everybody? Joe, you're lame. Freaking fat fingers. What's up, Lady Death? Amber?
I even know.
What'd you say?
Try to figure out any songs I even know to sing along to.
Oh, you'll see what it's like. Watch, you'll see. You're all trying to figure out a song. Like, just the safe song is Journey, Wheel in the Sky. All right. Keeper of the Second, what's going on? All right, okay. No, it's not an actual song. You have to make it up. That's the fun part. So, all right. So we're gonna make it up. You'll see. Watch. You are watching Just Paranormal Late Night, and Roman is not here, but I have a guest. Take it away, Adam.
With Adam Kimmell and JP Doyle, who is funny as shit. You need to watch his stuff.
But watch Adam's too, because it's really fucking good. And we're here. What's going on? I'm so excited that we got the one, the only, the man, the myth. Okay, I look up to you a lot in the film, man. I really say that. A lot of times when I say that to people, I'm lying. I really mean it though. So
back. All right, because we were talking before we went live. Dude, you came up in my feed one day. I don't know where the request came. We've been friends for a while on Facebook, but I have been silently creeping because I get your humor. You crack me up. Someone said on Facebook, it actually does make me laugh out loud because people they write LOL or he, but dude, I actually laugh out loud. I can't quote any of it off the top of my head, but it'll come across my feed sometime, dude. And I'm dying. I'm like, this dude's funny. I really need to meet this guy. But yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. I've been watching Resident Undead for a while. I remember first hearing about you guys. You were on the old live show that used to be on the channel run by Daryl Marston.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I was like, Adam Kimmell. He was super excited, and I was like, man, I feel like I should know this guy or something. So he sent me a link to the show, and I was like, oh hell yeah! Well, I see why now.
Yeah, he's a good dude, Daryl. Yeah, they got the American Ghost Hunter show live.
Yeah.
Good dudes. Good. They came up for MadCon, and they had a blast. You know what I mean? It's always a good time, though.
Yeah. You got so lucky with the location that you own, which is Madison Seminary in Madison, Ohio. But the best nickname for it ever, the Madhouse. That's so lucky, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's I'm very lucky though. The crew that's even been assembled. I always say this, you can't, even in the paranormal, you can't do this alone. You know what I mean? You gotta have a good circle, and even the crew that's there, we call them the Mad Crew. Those are the people that have they're just like us. They love this stuff, and they've made it happen as well. I couldn't have saved it without them, so it's just how it is, man. And you'll get to meet them. I know you're planning stuff, and you will get to meet all these cool people, dude.
Sweet, man. It's so cool to see these people that just help,
Mm-hmm.
Like Mr. Steve Brotte, that's what I call him. Brat, like that guy on a fucking YouTube. Anyways, yeah, he came and helps. He comes and helps out with you and stuff, man. That's awesome, dude.
He came the first winter I had the building. Gosh, I just feel like I've known everyone forever. I can't even tell you. I've just known Brat. I don't remember where it started. He actually went to high school, or maybe it's his wife, went to high school with my cousins up there in New York. It's like a small world.
Mm-hmm.
Like Glen Falls. And I was like, I think it was his wife that asked me, am I related to the Kimmells up there? And I'm like, such a rare, it's not as common. I was like, yeah, my cousins are actually from Glen Falls. So just small world, you know what I mean? And I can't even tell you when it's begun, but he came out in the winter and he played the survival game because I didn't have any of the heating done there. So we all wore hazmats and tried not to die for a week, and Brat survived. And when it's just crazy. We're just cleaning the building out, but it's fun. It's people on the outside of the paranormal don't understand. Like, why are all these people coming together to do this? Because it's like fun. It's like the best clubhouse you can have. You
Yeah.
clean during the day and you investigate at night. It's the dream, dude. It's the dream.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. And you mentioned that he survived the, what did you call it? The survival game?
Yeah, the survival game. We played it every winter at Madison. Because these winters on the lake are ridiculous, dude. We're like not even 10 minutes from the shoreline of Lake Erie. And it's kind of not cool because you'll be driving, like if I'm coming up from like Pittsburgh and up wet on these snowy days, it's fine. And I get 20 minutes outside of Madison, it turns into a whiteout. I'm like, you kidding me? Like,
that's crazy.
The sun was shining in Pittsburgh left today. But anyway, like as far as heating goes there, it's 70,000 square feet, 88 rooms. It's massive. The boiler system has failed, so we can't use that to, heat anything. So we use space heaters and whatever we can, those warming packs to stay alive and hazmat suits.
Man, Brock must have that strong genetics, man. Yeah, he got some strong genes. He could survive that. Good for him.
He's a soldier. He's a soldier.
Yeah, so these people that come and help, they just know you. Do they know you just through Resident Undead usually?
Funny about that. A lot of the Madison locals, not so much. This was funny. One of them was telling me the other day, her name's April. Like the first time she met me, she's like, what the hell are all these people taking pictures with this guy for? So we go through the tours, or we do the public hunts, and sometimes people come on flashlight tours and they're like, oh my God, I've watched RU before, and I watched the Madison episode before I came here, and can we take a picture? And April walks in, she's one of the locals. She's like, I have no idea who this guy is. I just know he owns the building. But like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of cool that they get involved in the whole idea, and they're like, hey, this is a part of a really big operation. It's because Madison is really an extension of RU. It's the next chapter. So,
well, a lot of the locations that we have to go to around here in Texas, they're always in really, really small boat-up towns. Mm-hmm. They still hold clan meetings in the town square. They're so racist, and everybody's old, and they're just all bitter, and they hate that when we come through. It's like they sniff us, they smell us, like they know we're in town. It's so weird.
Got some out of towners.
Yeah, exactly. It's so strange, and they're always playing Phase 10 and Dairy Queens, but they're definitely not excited about us going to the place.
Yeah, that happens.
So that's pretty cool, man. And how did you come about getting a seminary? Like, how the hell did that even happen?
It's weird. And this is for anyone watching. Here's some inspiration to you, because I'm not anyone special. Like, you just got to have the drive and motivation, and you can do anything. All right. So long story short, I went to college at Slip Rock University, and I studied politics for 5 years. I ended up hating politics, but it did teach me a lot about like social politics, diplomacy, and how to interact with people. You got to, working with people is very important in the paranormal, especially if you want to run a property.
You just did a politician. You're doing a politician thing as you're talking. You're going like this.
The Bill Clinton. This is Bill
Clinton. Yeah.
I believe this is the Barack Obama. The Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. But yeah, the hand motions. But like, so anyway, I actually dropped out of college to pursue the paranormal. I had a really crazy experience at our frat house. And then I went out to a cemetery, captured an EVP, and I was hooked. And instead of going to Washington, D.C. to finish my internship, to be basically some congressman's coffee boy, I decided, I'm going to teach myself how to film. I'm going to do all these things. And it's all self-taught. So, I mean, if I can do it, anyone can do it, because you got to put the time in. That's it. And you edit video. So I always tell people this, like, you get it. People get intimidated by editing, right? You had to learn at ground zero. Like, you had to, and now you get better and better. And I've seen the stuff you're putting together. I saw the stuff you did before, and I can tell the improvement. Like, it's natural. Nobody's good when you first start editing video. It's always crappy, like some of the first RU stuff's a joke. It's like I was trying, but you could tell I was really trying. And then every time you film a little more, you get better. But anyway, for the next 8 years, starting in 2010, I taught myself stuff, production, did the ghost hunting and all that, but I always knew the next step was to get a property. I always wanted a property. I didn't know which one. And I always worked low jobs. I've never made more than $725 my entire life. until this. Like I was always working minimum wage jobs, but I was always developing the plan. Like when I was editing RU, that's what I was focused on. Like I want to make a career out of this. I don't only want to investigate the paranormal, but I want to save properties, bring more people into this. So it was like a master plan. It took a good 6 years now, or no, actually 5, because I saved the Randolph County Infirmary, and some things went awry, and that was learning business and who you trust.
Hmm.
It was some really bad corruption. I always tell people that I don't go against Randolph County Infirmary because it's a beautiful building and I want people to see it, but just know that your money's probably not making it anywhere good into the building. You know what I mean? It's this. It was a bad, shady deal. I got screwed out of all the hard work everyone else did there too. I haven't forgotten anybody out there that did stuff, but it taught me what to do when I would get one without that interference. And Madison was that beacon. It became like the new Rome. And this is what's happening. You see all this good stuff coming out of us, and it's not a lie. It's literally happening every weekend. And I'm telling you, dude, if you didn't live all the way out in Houston, you would be out with us every weekend, dude.
Oh yeah,
Oh, dude, I
hands
know.
down.
You would love it. You would love
Yeah.
it. So yeah.
There's nothing like it. Like you were talking about how like helping's fun and stuff. People are like, "Oh, that sounds horrible, manual labor and shit." But we go to this jail out here all the time. Like my I call her my paranormal mom. She runs it, and dude, it's just fun hanging out because you're hanging out with everybody that has the same core values because everybody believes in the same thing. It's cool.
Yeah, no, and it's hard. This is like it's hard to explain it when you're on the outside, or if you're in the inside trying to explain it to the outside of people that aren't into it, they're never gonna get it. You have to have the drive to want to be in this. Because to us, you and I could hang out in an old building all day looking at stuff, and like we'd be tickled, And you
Yeah.
take other, they're like, oh, it's just an old abandoned building. What are you doing in there? You know what I mean? Like, there's
Right.
just
Right.
too.
Right.
So
Man, I can't believe that you were going to school for politics. You just don't even strike me as that. Not like I don't mean that in a bad. I mean that in a good
oh no,
way, actually.
no, I was actually studying political science and international security. That was it. That was my minor, was international security, but it wasn't, dude. I didn't, and this is what I feel for people, like anyone watching. Like if you feel like your life's going nowhere, I was with you. Like you just go with the flow. You're like, okay, after high school, what am I supposed to do? I guess I'll go to college. Like I never had the first time in my life where I actually had direction and drive
Hmm.
was the paranormal, because it just always felt like it was the next step, and I never really felt like I was living my life. And this sounds so crazy, but I didn't feel like I was alive until I started doing this stuff. Like
Yeah.
I think we can all feel it. We can all agree. Like it's an adrenaline rush. It's fun, and we are making a difference. We're just another chapter in history with what we do.
Yeah. Like no matter what I do or did, I always got sucked back into paranormal field. It
Yeah,
never went away.
yeah. Well, it's funny when you see people quit the paranormal. Like someone will make a post and they're it can be for whatever reason, and there's legitimate reasons people walk out and then not. But the one thing I always see, they always come back, no matter how bad the experience is. Because sometimes people get burned. I believe you had an experience, and you
Yes.
were gonna walk
Yes.
away for a little bit. I remember this, but you know what I
Mhm.
said? Because there's a few I've watched. I said JP will be back. JP will be back.
Yeah.
It was literally like I got to lick my wounds kind of thing, and I got to reevaluate this. But I'm telling you, anyone I've seen on my feed, you always come back. Like it's just, there's something about this field. It's no one ever really leaves. It's so addictive, and you want to know.
Yeah. Like we always like it always gets highlighted like the lack of paranormal unity, but
Mm.
man, there's so much camaraderie in the
Much,
paranormal. Some of my best friends now I met are on my online friends. It's insane.
yeah, well, yeah. But I tell we've had many arguments on discussions of paranormal unity. My good friend Brendan Shea, the bromance of the Brendan Shea. He
Hmm.
is a very funny individual. You'll get to meet him. I hope we'll try and coordinate this, because if you're coming up, well, I want this people I need you to meet.
Okay.
But we always talk about how paranormal unity doesn't exist. But as a whole, the way it's said, like this unicorn, this urban legend that every single person in the paranormal field should get along, dude, it's not going to happen. This is where my political, background, I can help you explain. I can help explain this, that if there was paranormal unity, then there would be peace in the Middle East, or we wouldn't have all these riots between politics, people standing in front of freeways. There will always be disagreements on no matter what, and that's humanity. It's not just the paranormal field. Human nature, you would think, is to come together but it's not always that way. There's always going to be that difference no matter what. And in the paranormal field, I will say this firmly, there will never be paranormal unity. It's just in human nature. There will always be conflict. So,
and I see
the Band
paranormal
of Brothers,
unity all the time.
yes, but the Band of Brothers thing, the camaraderie, there is another sect of it though. The actual friendships and things I've seen in this are very strong. It's there. But when I see paranormal unity, I just mean like they say it across the board. I mean, it's always the people that are like pushing it that I always feel like are like these, I don't know, they got the weirdest agendas. Like I see like there'll be these locations holding hearts up to their chests and stuff. They're like paranormal unity. I'm like, dude, that's weird. Like,
yeah.
Shit, dude, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It just, like you said, it's just not human nature for it to happen, unfortunately.
There will always be competition, and even in the paranormal, it's like whatever, the end game is to prove that spirits are here. But honestly, to tell you the truth, I think we're past that. I think the competition now is better communication and stable communication. Like, the evidence is damning. Like, there's so much stuff out there. So the existence of ghosts isn't that for me anymore. But I think what people are wanting to do now, it's either the agenda. They want to get on a TV show. They don't understand, though, because when you do that, that's your agenda. You're going to sell your soul out for it, unless you find the right production company, given, and it's going to be real. But maybe that's their agenda, and that's human nature, because some people, they just want to win, and they think getting on TV is winning, and that's not always the case. Or they just want to be known. They want to be that first person to have found the ghost on, get ghosts on camera. That's just that human nature. It's competitiveness. I think at the end of the day, it would be better to cooperate. We can all win. It's something, I think, for humanity as a whole. If we had answers to the biggest question, like what happens next, like, that's mind blowing. It would just save us a lot of questions. So,
yeah, that's a really good point. And to kind of take it off of like the deep direction, do you ever like meet people that are in the paranormal and you're like, they don't seem like the type of person that would be in the paranormal?
Oh, all the time, dude. All the time. Like
Steve is one of them. Steve Brook.
Oh, dude, Steve's like a bro. He should be on the basketball court, like shooting some hoops.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly the vibe he gave me.
Yeah, dude, no, but I clicked right away with Steve. Like he's, like he's a total bro, and but he's into it. Like he's not, he's not a fair weather paranormal dude. Like, dude, doesn't he like have a room? Like he's got a collection of Ouija boards and old antiques and stuff. Like, dude,
yeah, he has like a I think he has like a hospital bed or a table.
Just for casual shit, tombstone. Yeah. The bro time, dude. Bro doesn't play. So
yeah. He was one of them, and I've run into them sometimes, and I'm like, man, you just don't strike me as a person. But then it makes you wonder, like, am I the type of person that people think I'm into weird stuff like that?
I know it's funny because there's such a dynamic across the paranormal. I mean, the outside will always call us weirdos as a whole, but there have been people I've met that are like the daywalkers. You never would have suspected them, and yeah, dude. Even people at Madison that are getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of the staff. His name's Vance. He's cool as shit. He was never into this until he had an experience at Madison, but he's really into it, but it comes from those experiences. But outside of that experience, I don't think he ever would have been in this. But now that he is, you'd look at him, and if you didn't know he was out there with us at Madison, you'd be like, no way this dude's in the paranormal.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny how we have been in the field so long that we kind of it's kind of like whenever you meet somebody and you're like, that your name doesn't fit you almost.
Yeah, your name doesn't fit you.
Yeah, it's so weird. So I had a topic that I really wanted to discuss with you, and I want to get it in before it gets too late, because I think that we can talk about it for a little while.
Absolutely.
So you use a device called what you named them the Pandora.
Correct.
But we all know now what it is. It's the Panasonic DR60.
Correct. And we talked actually before that, because everyone's like, why the name? Well, there was the Greek symbology around it, or there was a reference that when Pandora's box was opened, all these things came out, fear, hate, blah, blah, blah. But the last thing to come out of Pandora's box was hope. And that was it was a deep meaning to it, that these recorders are the best. Mm-hmm. And this is our hope to solve the paranormal puzzle. Dude, it's with this device, so I nicknamed it Pandora, and that was another reason, because it's not out of greed. It's like I knew the technology, and it's like why, I wanted to buy a ton of them and get them in the right hands. And then once it became national, that recorder, I used to buy them for $300 a pop, and once
Which
it
is
went,
still pretty expensive.
oh my God, which is still expensive but I'd seen it in action. Like, I'm willing to charge on a credit card for this. Not normally I wouldn't spend on something like that, but I did. And then it got on TV. Like, we did Paranormal Lockdown. I saw that Groff was using it. I'm like, oh no. And then I saw Kindred Spirits was using it. Oh no. And no one's hiding it. You know what I mean? Because I was taping it just, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I like to use it, and let's because the paranormal community at whole. Because now here's the thing, and this isn't the greed thing. It's like if someone could capitalize on it, dude. We're not rich. None of us are rich. And if someone outside of the paranormal saw, oh, these ghost hunters love this device, well, I'm really rich. I'm going to buy as many as I can and then resell them.
Yeah.
And so like, that's where my head went. I understand the markets, and then now Ghost Adventures is starting to use it. We all know though, it originated from the Constantinos. That was one of the devices they used. Way back in the day. I knew about it. I found out about the Panasonics. I was actually at Hillview Manor, and they were using them there. And I was like, what is this device? It's like, and for you, and I know where we're going to get onto this because we're probably going to bounce on some things and experiences, but like, this device was capturing constantly. I just thought it was fake when I first saw it used. I'm like, no way you can capture something every single time. But yes, you can capture something every single time. But what were you going to go deeper on that? You were talking about the Panasonics.
Yeah, because they get a lot of flack.
Yes,
they get a lot of hate too. But usually, whenever somebody's talking to me about them and they're explaining them, and then I'm like, "Well, do you have one?" And they're like, "No."
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you don't like it.
If you don't have one, you hate it. I totally get it. I've had ghost shows or fellow, and I won't name any names, but Kimmel's on the warpath tonight. But I'd say like I have had people I thought were friends doing their own thing that will make jabs about the recorder, right? Guess who doesn't have that recorder? They don't. And I'm not saying it's like, dude, it's a powerful piece of equipment. It's the workhorse. I rely on that. Like people are always just like, well, don't do anything outside of EVPs. Why? Like, it's like the messages we're getting are ridiculous and they're always going to be new. But the teams that have like taken shots at us are ones that don't have it. Now you have one as well. So you see the power that's in your hands. These devices need to be protected. They need, you know what I mean? Like they don't make them anymore. And there's a glitch. The way they built the motherboards or something, they were tapping into the wrong frequency, the wrong decibel. And all it means is, for anyone that's watching that's not familiar with the Panasonic 60s, is that it's recording on voice activation only, and it's almost capturing a sub-frequency. Like, it's going lower, and because of that, it's capturing, where the frequency of fear is. Back in 1998, 1999, people were calling Panasonic complaining, saying, hey, people like nurses, doctors, people doing dictation, and they were saying, hey, this recorder is still recording when I stop. It's not supposed to do that, but they were listening back. And literally, after their dictation, you would hear ghost voice. So how crazy is that? Someone who didn't even, believe in this stuff, gets exposed to that. There was one I bought. This is one funny thing about it. I got one really cheap one time for like $100. I'm thinking, man, this shit must be broken, but I had to do it, right? And literally, I get this recording. It has 5 recordings on it. I'm like, I gotta listen. I gotta listen to some recordings because normally, like, whether when you take the battery out, sometimes it doesn't save the file, so you gotta do a hard download on the ground. Well, anyway, I listened to this 5. This dude was playing his guitar, like he was practicing on his guitar, and it's literally him singing, and then you'd hear freaking EVPs, dude. You'd hear the voices behind it, and then it would start again. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's this to like really do it, and you literally heard legit EVPs. Like I heard like sentences, like
they're like, man, this guy sucks.
But I was like blown away. I'm like, this stuff's real, like it works. So
yeah, like when I first got my hands on it, first of all, I searched for one for months, and your show had a lot to do with that. Once I found out the name of it. Because I was like, man, that thing looks familiar. Yeah. And then I put 2 and 2 together. I finally figured it out. Dude, I searched for months.
You know what?
Luckily,
I'm gonna stop you right there. You deserve the Grail. I've talked to people that figure it out, and those are the people that like deserve to have it. It's like this. It's like passing over the nuclear option, the nuclear codes to someone. You
yeah.
because that's what I had to do when I first found it. They wouldn't tell me what it was. So what I did was like when I was filming what was going on, I'd zoom in only on that recorder, and then I would start Googling and stuff, and just what you said there. It deserves. These are the people's hands it needs to be in, not people that are trying to make money off it. Because like going for $1,600, seriously, like
Dude, they're going for 3,000 now.
this is what I'm talking about. This is why it wasn't about greed, like me covering it up. It's like I had them
But
taped because it's
I
like
mean, if you
get it.
yeah, I mean, if you even did cover it up to like protect it so that way it wouldn't be this expensive, so other people can buy them and use them for the field.
Yeah, I used to tell people all the time, people that I really trusted, that I thought they could do good with it. I wouldn't. It wasn't that I was like hiding it. It was just from the public at large because you don't know who's watching. Word could get out like, yo, there's this team using it. You got to find this recorder because maybe we can reverse engineer it, make a lot of money, or we can buy the existing ones. That's where my mind went. I always assumed the bad out there. And with what you're saying though, like, yeah, well, what I was saying is, I would hand it off to a lot of friends, but I would also give them the speech. It's like handing the nuclear codes. I said, please, if you're going to tell anyone what this is, let me know first, and we can have like a little democracy vote about it, because there are people's hands that I don't think it should be in. People that are going to try to, market off it, like try to reverse engineer it maybe, and then spike it up. I don't even know, or start buying them, like basically take out like 10 credit cards and buy all the remaining ones, and then they control the market and they can sell them for 10,000. They can sell them for 12.
Yeah, if they're holding a lot, yeah, man. I searched for months on LetGo, OfferUp, Craigslist, eBay. Like I was just checking every day, almost all day for months.
Yeah.
And I came across one in Colorado. This lady had one listed for $20. She called it Gray Panasonic Device was the title of the thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, she had no idea. Luckily, I had family in Colorado, and they were about an hour away. And I told them, y'all don't understand. Like, they're not even involved in the paranormal. I'm like, I'll pay y'all $100 just to go pick it up for me. And I did. So I ended up spending like $125 or something. Oh, and then shipping, so about $200 for it.
Dude, yeah, that's still great. That's still great.
And people don't like understand, like, you can't just use it one time and then base your opinion on that. Because whenever I first bought it, like, I was like, oh, this isn't anything. Like, when I first bought it and I kept using it, I was like, well, of course I'm going to keep using because I see everybody getting these great results. Dude, like, just like 2 weeks ago, I went to this house. Holy crap, dude. I caught the 2 clearest EVPs I have caught in a long time. One of them said, Deborah, like, you know how sometimes on the Panasonic, it's like kind of hard to make out, but you can hear the chitter chatter?
You can hear it's always like there. Yeah, you hear the intelligence underneath it. Yep, I know exactly what you're saying.
No, this thing goes, Deborah, like a voice. And then I had left it in the closet where this spirit supposedly hung out. I walk out of the door, you hear the door click. Nobody's in the room, and then it says, come here for a second. Clear as day. Come here for a second.
And isn't it great? Because we know how like it gets kind of staticky. Like, you've watched RU. It's sometimes you can hear the syllables. Mm-hmm. So it's always easy to go by the syllables. And that's how it records. You can almost hear the bursts of energy as they're bringing it through.
Mm-hmm.
And I always use, like, I do things like the intelligence test, where I'll ask them to repeat a word. And I always say banana. Dude, try banana on yours.
Okay.
It's because of the phonetics.
Mm-hmm.
You hear, I just had a news crew. We had a news crew filming out of Youngstown for the Halloween special. And the reporter, Len Rome, has been out with us before. And so he's ghost hunted with us, and he's always been intrigued, but he wanted to like kind of do that again. And it's hard on command. Like, I can't just snap my fingers, but I'm like, my go-to word is banana. Can you Dude, no kidding. Filming live. You hear it just banana. I'm like, yes. Light in the noise, but it's like, not a scary word for Halloween anyway, but it's just crazy. But it's the phonetic. Like, certain words or certain letters are easier to hear. Banana's a go-to, dude. You can always try it. It works.
And you said that you have a few of them, and you noticed that some work better than the others.
Yes. As of right now, I have 9. Or am I missing with 10? I don't know. I actually do have a vault for these. I'm not even kidding. This sounds crazy, but I
You
have a
have
vault
to.
I bought specifically. I believe I have 10 now. I just acquired a new one. Um, but here's the interesting thing. On the research, I can tell you that I've recorded I know 9 at a time at once, and a majority of the time they will catch the same answer or something similar. And then, let's say like 5 out of the 9 will catch a similar answer or something at the same moment. If something yells really loud, the 5 will be like, it'll be loud. Some you can make out, some you can't, but you got the same burst. And then on the other 4, it's like, dude, different conversations, right? Like
Mhm.
something completely different. And what's happening, I think, is since they're imperfect devices, since they're all man-made, they're each catching a part of like a little decibel or a little different frequency, and it could be off by 0.001. And because of that, you may be capturing a spirit on a different plane, but still within the frequency of fear.
That makes a lot of sense.
You know what I mean? Because they're not all the same. They weren't they're mass produced, but they're human, they're imperfect devices. And when I have ones that I really go to. I've like named them like Pandora 1 on the back. I've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've ranked them by their performance. So Pandora 1 is what RU uses all the time, every
Mhm.
location. But here's the thing. Pandora 1, it works really well at Madison. It works at a lot of locations, but I'll take Pandora 1 somewhere and I'll get nothing. But then Pandora 2 is nailing it, right? And it's like, whoa, okay. So you kind of always have to have a few backups because I
That's
think
interesting.
yeah, because I used to roll with only 1 and then 2. And then I was like, always going to do a 2. But then I realized 1 was doing much better than the other. But even though the other one was good, it just wasn't like the other. So,
Yeah, man, that it's crazy. Like I was like joking with my group chat, the guys that went to Tennessee, and I was like, if it hits 10,000, I'll think about it. Joking, but then I thought about it. I was like, man, I wouldn't even sell it for 10,000.
I wouldn't either. Like, I wouldn't 10,000. If I have 10 of them and they went for 10,000, I could like literally, dude. Like a haunted property we could buy with that. But then again, it's like selling a part of your soul you don't want to sell. Like,
No, dude, I that thing is
oh,
priceless, man.
it's
It
price.
is.
It's price.
For as long as I do this, it's priceless because I can drive to. I'm gonna go to Ohio soon, and we're gonna film a documentary at your place, and I can drive there knowing I'm gonna get there and I'll catch something. Like it's
Oh,
gonna be worth my while because of this device.
that's exactly right. I've dealt, and this is getting into production companies. Like how do you tell production companies when you have this kind of equipment? You're like, no, 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 no. You don't have to worry about evidence because the producers are always like, well, how do you know what kind of stuff to use? Like, just don't worry. We use a tool. It's more of a question of what evidence do you want to use and what do you want to throw because you're going to have way too much. Because
Mm-hmm.
after filming 20 hours of an RU episode, like we just got done filming at the Monroe House in Hartford City, Indiana, and it's never crossed my mind, oh my God, we're going to go film and never get enough evidence. Like, the device. Like, you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
how much do you want to pick from? Like, at the end of the day, it's like there are EVPs I toss out just because I have too many EVPs in a ripple. Like, I'll pick the best ones, because I'll have 2. And sometimes, even though I tell the viewer there's only 2, I sometimes have a third one running just as a safety, but it's like overkill. But
Mm-hmm.
just I want to know maybe there's a different answer. And that's why people are like, "Oh, RU's fake. The EVPs are too good." It's like you got to know the tool we're using. If you had that tool, you'd be like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" Like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
What's been one of the responses that just have stood out to you? Because I've seen most of your episodes, but what's one that you just know?
off the top of my head, there's always one that stuck with me. Well, 2 for sure, but the one
Let
that
me get
really,
my notepad out so I can write this down on my computer real
and
fast.
they're both in RU episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one that actually really struck me, just with like, it actually like really made me sad. It was at St. Albans. This is the number 1. St. Albans Sanitarium. It should be our return to St. Albans episode because the other one, like we were talking before, like getting into filming, I was embarrassed the first time I went to, you know, how I filmed, because I didn't know what I was doing yet, so my camera works bad and all that stuff. So actually, the St. Albans episode everybody sees, that's a return episode. That's actually the second time I would have been there, and we were doing a reenactment in the morgue. Um, we were doing electroshock. We took a car battery in there and we sparked. We did these sparks for electroshock therapy.
Mhm.
Because I guess that was their electroshock therapy room down there. And this EVP, now don't quote me on this. There's so many EVPs that I've heard and I've documented, but it says, these are the memories that bothered me. They used to keep the bodies here. Something to that extent.
Christ, that is the
Dude,
longest freaking
longest. And listen back and you'll be like, oh my God, that's real. Like, because you know how it sounds when it comes over. It blew my mind. It was the longest. Like, I'm getting chills right now, dude. But like, what blew my mind, it made me sad. I was like, this is this dark research of the ripples, like where we're recreating something. And people think it's like, oh, you shouldn't expose the spirits to that. It's like, no, 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 no. With us going in how we are, we don't know if they're going to react to us. But if we do something they remember or we look like them, they're more likely to respond. Like, even our language now and our, like, the way we talk with our slang, 100 years from back then, and we try, even though we're both speaking the English language, there's a lot they would miss, like what's this mean? What's that mean? And even our styles change. But anyway, with that EVP being captured, it told me something dark. It told me that, this might not be documented, but this spirit's saying they remember the electroshock therapy. And oh, by the way, when it was cold outside and you couldn't bury bodies, they used to keep them down in the morgue down here. That's what I gathered from it.
Man, that's freaking crazy.
It's deep. It's deep, dude.
I can't wait to go hear it.
It's in the episode. It's during that ripple. Number 2, this literally may be the case. This may be an EVP that actually solved the Villisca axe murder. I think I still have this one up. It is Return to Villisca. This was before the modern RU. This was like along, as you change teams along the way, you got to find your crew. This was prior to the modern Resident Undead. It's Return to Villisca, and it was the ripple that we were recreating the murder of the family. The axe murder comes out. Anyone doesn't know the story. It was a family of 5 and 2 house guests. Lena and Ina Stillinger were murdered by someone who came out of the attic, possibly, and axed them to death. It is an unsolved murder, and there are like 3 primary suspects. But there was once, like, basically the point of the ripple is to almost like kind of piss them off a little bit in this case. And I remember, here's what's crazy, which when you watch it, you won't see this in the episode because it was before filming. I literally tried to taunt this thing and I said, listen, whoever's here, I know you're still here because this is your personal Disneyland. You love feeding off the stories of people coming in and being scared of you. But I said, I'm about to do a reenactment. And if you don't confess who you are, it's going down this way. I'll show it to the world. So if you're going to brag, now's the time. Because if not, the wrong person may get credit. And it just happened to be that I always had this suspicion it was Reverend Kelly. It always something about his testimony and all this and the way he acted. I figured he was the guy that killed this family. So I dressed up like the Reverend. One of the people at the time, his name was Justin. He took an axe to my head to shorten the story. And when he held that axe over my head to pretend like he was murdering me or to fighting back, which when you see the ripple, it makes sense. The EVP is like, it yells, it goes, it's me, Reverend Kelly. I killed them. Like, yeah, dude.
Jeez, man.
And I'm like, I'm still getting chills on this because that's stuff like behind the scenes I don't get to tell people. Like, I don't use provocation. I don't taunt. But if we're going up against a murderer that we think is there, well, now it's all fair game. It's all, you bring out anything you want, you know? So that's what I did. And dude, it would have been great if the camera's been rolling because after I made this comment, I said, we're about to do it this way. You better show up. Dude, I remember even Justin said, he's like, oh my God, you could feel the energy charge in this room. And I was like, go, go, go. Cameras, let's go. And we literally jump into that ripple that's upstairs. That's not the one in the attic. It's the one it's the very last ripple of the episode.
Okay. I have it written down. I'm going to check. I'll watch both. I'll probably just watch the full episodes on them, honestly. You mentioned something. You said that like you felt the energy change in the room. Yeah. Is it weird to you whenever like we've been doing it for so long that I think that that's something that grows over time. Because I've gone with people and they've never been before and they're like, I don't feel anything. And you're like, how do you not feel that? Like, how do you explain that? That's so weird. Right.
Because I agree. I get people's points of view. Like, I'm not sensitive. I'm not psychic. I can never tell you, like, I walk into a room and be like, there's a male here. I just don't know. I'm like that.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you, and this is, you're right, I'm totally with you. The more you do this, you walk into areas and you're like, there'll be times I walk into Madison, I'm like, dude, shit does not feel good in here. Like it's like my Spider-Man sense. I joke. It's like Spider-Man in the Infinity War. They see Thanos as one of Thanos' ships and his hairs all stick up. We all
Yeah.
have that after a while. You just acquire like that. He's on the bus and just hair up. I'll walk through Madison, my hair will stand up, and I'm like, it's bad. It's just not good here. Or to feel like real thick in the air, but like not a lot of some others don't feel it, and I'm like, they're new, they don't get it. Like you feel that tension in the air. I can't explain it, but it's there.
It's so weird. It's like whenever I was a kid, I don't know this. It doesn't happen to me much anymore, but have you ever like when you're alone and you hear like a sound in your ear and then it changes when somebody walks in the room?
Yeah,
Like the like the pressure changes or something, and you hear it.
Yep.
And the other night, well, not the other night, it was a few months ago, I was in my kitchen and I was just washing my hand. I just got back from the gym, and it did that. Like I turned the water off. I was standing there for a second, drying my hands off, and then it just changed, and I was like,
"Yep,
what the fuck?"
You know what's funny? I don't think in my entire life I've ever talked to anyone about that. I thought I was the only weirdo that had that happen, but I think maybe I'd read about this. Like, but in your ears, you'll actually hear a change. Like
yeah, like when I was a kid, it would happen, and my sister would like have walked in the room or something.
Yeah, or you feel like like the door opened or something, even without making a noise. The two things, like I can hear frequency sometimes. It'll just like I'll hear like a weird like sound, but I can tell, and that's funny. Another thing I've never shared is like my brother used to always try to sneak up on me when I was little. We were little and stuff, and he would open the door real slowly, and you literally could feel a change. You could feel a change. No, nothing made a noise or nothing. You just knew. Like So it is an acquired thing. Yeah.
It just shows our like how we're still really primal to our core.
Oh, but absolutely. Like here's another thing, primal, not to jump, like because I like where we're going with this, but like it's funny how we always see movement out of the corner of our eyes, right? That we're primal, like as humans, we're designed as hunter and gatherers to see that kind of movement and catch it. Because if something's moving on our peripherals, we're going to notice it right away. Funny, like how when these spirits are kind of sneaking up on us, like we can catch that out of the corner of our eyes real quick. So don't, for anyone's watching, don't throw that out. Like when you think you might be losing your mind, the human, like as hunter and gatherers, we're so defensive, and on that, like that is a defensive mechanism to avoid predators and see threats coming. And that's just funny when these spirits spy on us. Like we have the ability, like we're going to see it out of the corner of our eyes. But yes,
like I feel like if it's like a primal thing, and like most humans like have this happen to them, some of those humans are skeptical to believing in spirits, but I wonder what they think of that whenever it happens, because something tells you something's there. Like all your instinct tells you something's there.
I think some people just don't ever want to believe. I think it is very hard for people to step out of, like I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everyone I know that is like taking the mind to like, it takes a very powerful mind to question. It is so easy to live this life and just follow what you're told. And go on to the next, go on to the next. And this is what you need to believe. And this is what's real. And this is what's that. It takes a very strong mind to question it, because our society has punished people. Like if you're defiant, you know what I mean? Like that's just not the way you're supposed to be. But it has been very defiant minds in our past that have changed all of society. So, it's the people that don't believe in it, I guess, getting back to that, there are just some people that will just never believe. And it doesn't matter how much they see, because you're right. They've had probably legit experiences, their senses and all that. And at the end of the day, it will make them sleep better at night if they close their eyes and just think, yep, the world's still the way I think it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of sad sometimes when you see people.
I've seen people in bad cases. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we went live, we were talking about something, and I had read a little bit about it, but you seem like you have more knowledge on it. Quantum entanglement starting to be used for our field. What, in layman's terms, is quantum entanglement?
So, and this is funny, quantum entanglement, and it's not a really hard concept because I'm no genius by any means. Like I'm just a nerd, so I love this stuff. But I can break this down because I had Michelle Belanger explain this to me, which it was like, oh my God, like break that down so I can understand and regurgitate that to everybody. But we were having a conversation about past lives. I am a big believer in past lives. Like, it just, I'm sold on it. I think it's happening. I think reincarnation is real. There's still more study that needs to be done. Ian Stevenson, he has a PhD in this. He has gone to third world countries. He's done a lot of like incredible studies on children that have never, like, they're in third world countries. They're in tribes that have very little interaction with the world, if any. And they're drawing pictures of, like, you know, Japanese flags and American flags. Look this up. You can fact check me. This shit is real. And that's why I'm telling you, like, I can't put my finger on exactly how it happens, like how we control it. Some people believe we have the choice to come back and we know what we're doing, like we can pick that life, or it just is random. It's a random freaking lottery. But here's where quantum entanglement comes into it, because I said to Michelle, I said, I can't just believe it. I can't just believe it's just like any other religion now, because it's Buddhism that believes in reincarnation. But she goes, quantum entanglement from the scientific point of view is at the atomic level, there's constant exchange of energy, right? As you interact with people, there's an exchange at the atomic level, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here's where it gets spooky in quantum entanglement. And Einstein did this experiment. They separated atoms at the atomic level, and they pulled them around the world, okay? And at some point, when let's say it was the same molecule of those atoms, once it got so far away from the other, it mysteriously disappeared and reappeared next to the other one in a moment's flash. And we're talking like it could have been split halfway across the world, and like that. So here's now the lights. I know this it's deep, but everyone listening, you can follow with me. It's basically saying that we are all, if we had an exchange at the atomic level, we can find ourselves. That's what that's at an atomic level. We recognize each other. That's what it is. When you see your friends and the ones you were talking about, you feel like you knew each other. It's almost instinctual. It's like at the atomic level, we're like, yes, I recognize you. Because two things are happening. It's either that these guys remind you of friends you've had before. Okay. That's one way to look at it. And that's all that's happening. You remind me of a friend I had. Or there is this second thing going on that you remember them from a past life. Like you remember, like you feel like a friend to me. You suddenly, I can trust you so much. Like I feel like I've known you my entire life. And that's the irony. Yeah. Not this one, last. But it gets deep and more complicated than that, because then you get into the debate of new souls. Like, where are these souls coming from? How are people the old souls? If there were only so many humans back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, where and the population keeps increasing, you know, there can't always be old souls. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? But it's quantum entanglement and that exchange at the atomic level. That's what's happening, where I think we're recognizing each other.
That's really interesting. And it kind of goes back to, we did a show Tuesday night, we did a podcast, and we spoke about the simulation theory. So I'm assuming that you're pretty up on that.
Simulation theory. No, I'm
okay.
I edit all day.
Right. So the simulation theory basically is that we are living in a very high-tech simulation. That this is just a simulation.
Oh, is this because an astronomer was saying that when he looked at the universe as a whole, it was binary, all ones and zeros?
And it mimicked error correcting code software, and that you find in software.
I remember this. I didn't know the theory name to it. There was an astronomer that was alerting everybody, saying like, guys, I don't think this is real. Like, this is some Matrix shit. Like, yeah.
It's crazy, dude. And like all the smartest minds, like Elon Musk said, there's only three ways this could be going down. Number one is that we just talked about it, so I'm trying to like remember. One of the ways is that like there's no way that, basically he's saying there's no way that civilization would have never not run a simulation. But he said one of the things is maybe they were like, well, it's kind of wrong if we do this because the people in the simulation don't know that it's fake. So that was one option.
For the record, I tell you how much I love Elon. Like I am listening contently because this man is a freaking genius. One of the smartest people we got. I already love Theory 1 because I get it. I get what he's saying. Like, it's almost like this round is a test round. Like, you know what I mean? And then we wake up, we die, we live a full life, and then we die. Like, hey, welcome to the real world now. You know what I mean? It could be something or it's just maybe a game. I don't know. But anyway, theory option two.
Option two was that um, we killed ourselves off before, like the civilization will kill themselves off before the opportunity presents itself to run such a high-tech simulation. And then number three is we're in a simulation. He said those are the only three options when it comes to this idea. And he's pretty sure we're in a simulation. And not just a simulation. We're a simulation of a simulation inside of a simulation in another simulation. We're just like in all the because one civilization will start the simulation, that simulation will get so advanced that they would eventually start their own simulation within the simulation, so on and so forth. So that's what he thinks. So we're not even like, we're most likely not even the initial simulation.
Dude, JP, it's been 49 minutes into this and my mind is blown.
It's a
this
weird...
right here, this rubbing, this tick I do. Like,
yeah.
I'm like thinking what you're saying.
Maybe want to grow a beard just so I can do that.
Yes, I used to never have a beard for the longest time. I like it just so I can do this.
Yeah.
Dude, that blows my mind. You know, because the movie The Matrix did always like, it's not like it's similar to that, but that is like an idea. Like The Matrix is kind of like that, but Elon's onto something, dude. Like I'm just quiet right now because I'm like, I'm taking it in. The wheels are turning. I'm like, that's deep, dude. That's
and if
deep.
you think about all of it, everything's explained through the simulation, because let's say it in this sense, ghosts are like a glitch in the simulation. And if the simulation is super advanced, how would you say that the glitch doesn't realize that it is a glitch? Or like, what I'm trying to say is, like, we get intelligent responses to EVP sessions, and you're like, how can that be a glitch? Because it's answering our question. But it could be a glitch because the simulation is so advanced that the glitches don't even realize that they're a glitch.
What if the glitches were actually reenacting, or we're interacting with another simulation? You know,
right there.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's intelligent. We always make these jokes like, oh man, what if in this simulation it's like 40 years now from them and they're just going about their business? Because isn't it weird that in some of these responses we get these, we think are residual, and they go hello, and it's almost like they're reacting because they heard us. You know what I mean?
Damn, it explains, man, it explains so much. And it's scary when all the greatest minds in the world can't say that it's not true. Like, most of these people are super smart, and they're like, we can't say it's not. Can't rule it out.
I remember when I saw the report of the astronomer that said, like, when he started looking at the universe as a whole, it's ones and zeros. And even my heart skipped a beat for a second, because I'm like, I don't know if the normal person understands the alarming to this. Like, you're understanding now, like the average Joe be like, oh cool, ones and zeros. I'm like, no. That shouldn't be that. You know what I mean? That's alarming if it's almost like software. Because I remember reading that and I had to like take a double look. I'm like, oh no. You know, because I've always had this inkling in life, something's not right. I just can't figure it out. Dude, life's weird. Life's weird, man. Being a human.
It is. It's strange, and it like what you were talking about. Why I brought this up is you were talking about the quantum entanglement, and it makes sense because, like, if it was just a simulation, it makes sense that these atoms would like immediately be back together because it's just technology.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah. If the energy are the energy in the simulation. Yeah, I know it's like deep. Or atoms are not even real. It's like the simulation just does this. We come back and it's more like the glitch is we're kind of remembering a past simulation. You know what I mean? Like we keep coming back, and maybe some people aren't real. Oh God, look where we're going, dude. What are the mark we're at? Like 53. What if, you know, dude, I'm a huge nerd. I grew up on Star Trek and all these things. So I've heard all these ideas. I went through a phase in my life, and this actually helped me with public speaking. It's like this little glitch I took from this is that I never felt anything was real. Because people was like, how can you, and I've met friends that have anxiety, so I always talk to them like, here's how you beat anxiety. This is not even real. This is a game. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I went through a phase in life where I thought maybe I was the only real thing. Like this was all a simulation. And everyone I act with, even though this was super advanced stuff, they were intelligent enough to interact with me to fool me. Like we're talking about like a billion-year-old civilization, and this is it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or what is life to begin with? You know, it's so easy to be born and told things, but like I went through this phase, so I told people that had anxiety with speaking. I said, what helps me? I can walk into a crowd of 100 people and I can just let's rule this, because in my mind, I'm thinking it's a video game. I can hit the restart button. It's not even real. You know, like it's weird, but that's what helped me through public
But
speaking.
hey, no, everybody like that friend that asked you that was probably thinking you were just gonna be like, imagine them naked. You know how they always say that. Okay,
Yeah.
if I'm on stage and I'm imagining somebody naked, A, I'm not liking it, or B, I get aroused and that's embarrassing. Right? Like that's a very bad word of advice, because it's like, well, what if this like blonde chick in the front row is super hot with huge boobs and you imagine her naked the whole time? Like you're gonna have a boner for the whole show.
Catastrophic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just interesting because like I said, it just ties in anything. It can explain what deja vu is. It can explain what ghosts are. It can explain quantum entanglement. I also read somewhere that they were studying two atoms, and like the atom reacted differently when they were looking at it, as if it was like a rendered software. Yeah, like the atom reacted completely different when they were physically watching it, but when they weren't physically watching it, I don't know how, maybe recording it somehow, it reacted a different way. It's so weird. Look that up. I read that not that long ago.
I know, I believe you. It's just my mind. Like I don't, dude. And our scientists are finding this. This isn't like out of comic books.
Yeah, like, this isn't like you and me finding it. You know, like
at Madison. Like this is real. These are like real time scientists. They've got PhDs, and they're the ones telling us, and nobody's listening. Like, hey, something's wrong. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't have any.
Well, me neither. But I'll move on to the last question here, real quick. Maybe we can knock it out before you go. So, through my time and spending time at one location so often, like I do with Lavaca Jail, and I'm not there as much as you're at Madison, I'm sure. I've had some things happen to me that I can only describe as a mind fuck. So basically, like I lost time one time. That's documented time, like that was gone, missing. Stuff like that. What's something that has happened to you at Madison where you're like, that's not even paranormal. That's fucking worse than paranormal. I don't even know how to explain that. Like, have you had anything that goes beyond like EVPs or feelings or seeing something like
the missing time? Because we always joke about Madison time, like time flies there. I have never experienced that. Doppelgangers.
There you go. That's mine.
But I've been seen before. Some of the staff have been seen before. I saw an experience where I know they weren't there and I saw them. But I don't know. When you're working these locations, I don't understand why it's happening. Like, it's funny because these people out there call themselves paranormal experts. You know, the word doesn't exist. Like, because I've been doing this for 8 years. I'll be doing this till the day I die. And then I'll be a part of the haunting, wherever it is, probably Madison. But the thing is, like, I don't, every time you think you got your finger on it, you know, every time you're this close, 5 more questions arise. We're always learning. We are always students. And it's just, I don't know.
I've seen Doppelganger before too of my friend. Me and my wife both followed him down the hall. We walk into a room where we knew he would have ended up, and he comes from the other direction. He's like, oh no, I took a right at that hallway. No, you didn't, dude. You took a left. I watched you. I followed you.
We had an incident in Madison that was that way. Doppelganger did not interact, did not talk. They followed him briefly, went down the stairs, and then they found out he wasn't even on that floor altogether. But, you know, visual contact was made. And it's just, was it a glitch in the simulation?
That's what I was thinking. Simulation.
We caught you, simulator. But now our minds are playing with us. Maybe we're crazy. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's crazy. You already blew my mind, dude. My mind's blown.
Do you mind if I pull up something real fast to show you? I wanted you to hear. I wish I could do it on through here, but for some reason Google Hangouts doesn't have that yet. But
Oh, that's cool.
I want to show you real quick those 2 EVPs that we caught at the house because I want you to hear how clear they were. It's insane. Yeah. And I know they'll sound okay on here. Let me pull it up. Stupid Roman being stupid. Okay, let me see. At the very end, I replay like the really good messages, really good EVPs. So let me find that part. Sorry, folks. I just want to show him this while I got it. Okay, so it says Deborah right after. I played again in slow. Okay. You heard that? That's insane, right? This one, you're going to hear the door click, and then you're going to hear something say, come here for a second. Nobody was in the room.
That's the door. That's the door.
Come here for a second. Yeah. God, dude.
It's funny because, you know, and it's good. I need everyone that's watching to realize how crazy this is when you keep listening to EVPs over and over again. Like, this is what we do, right? Mm-hmm. So it's funny, you know, it's mind-blowing because I'll be reviewing evidence and there'll be that one EVP that comes through on that. And you're like, oh, my God. And there have been moments I didn't think anything was happening around us. You just don't feel anything. And when you go back on that review, dude, you had something massively intelligent talking to you, and you have no idea until later.
No idea.
You know what's creepy is sometimes I'll actually go back in the editing, and I'm wondering if, like, this is my mind playing with me, that they're playing with me. There'll be random messages in the white noise. I'll hear, Adam, are you listening? Like, it's like they know.
Dude, I'm going that's crazy.
I'm not even kidding. I'm like, man, and I don't share it because it's like, it's not relevant. It's in the white noise, way past a good capture. And it's like, do they know I've been doing this for so long? I'll hear my name called all the time. Adam. But it's like, I don't think it was at the evidence. I don't think it was at the location. I think it's like they knew I was going to listen back. So they had these like little messages. I don't know.
Well, from what I hear is a lot of people theorize that they don't have a concept of time and space like we do. So like, for all you know, that was actually recorded right there with you. You know, like, because they don't have the same, because we caught an EVP. We were at this place where I had my experience actually. And I was by myself and the rest of the group was down the hallway at the very end of the building. And I hear an ambulance going by and a voice says, that was them, crash. Very clear. That was them, crash. And we're like, what the hell? So I run over there and tell them, look what I just captured. And we're all freaking out. Well, I guess one of the ladies like put 2 and 2 together, ambulance sound, crash. She had an app on her phone for radio scanners. Must have been a drug dealer or something. And no, I'm just kidding. But she went to the scanner and it was saying that there was a head-on collision like 3 blocks away.
Oh, you told me this story when we talked the one time, right?
I think so.
Yeah. That's crazy, though. I remember my mind being blown by that too, like the first time.
There's no time and space.
It's very possible. Like, they can be anywhere. It's funny, like when we say like, come speak at this recorder. I don't do that anymore because I'm like, I don't think you necessarily need to be right next to this recorder. I think you could be like 2 rooms away and this thing's going to catch you because it's we don't even understand the way that it travels. We think like sound waves, right? Mm-hmm. We think a ghost is going to like got to talk and their ghost waves are going to get recorded in the recorder. We don't know how EVP phenomena travels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're usually non-audible. So it's not a disembodied voice.
Unless it's a disembodied voice. And then sometimes you hear a disembodied voice and you think your camera catches it. It comes out something different when you know what you heard with your ear. It's weird. We don't understand how it moves. It's not a natural thing. It's not a natural rule to law, like how we understand sound now. So I don't say that. I used to in the beginning. I say, come up to this red light. I'm like, no, dude, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. We're going to get your voice.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But yeah, we're here at an hour, man. Do you have anything else you want to add or anything you want to plug? Because I know you're releasing a new season right now of Resident Undead.
We are currently editing the Monroe House. I mean, I'm in post-production on a lot of things because I got slowed down by Madison Seminary. Not a bad thing. It's just hard to do production when you're out there working on the ground. The new season of Are You Strong? That's the newest season. We already did Phillips Folly. We have St. Joseph's Hospital, Monroe House in Hartford City is up, Fairfield County Infirmary. And then we may have I've got something special in the works for the finale. It's going to be crazy and ridiculous. But that's for the end of this season. Then we have a whole lineup for 2019. So for anyone that watches RU, there's a lot of more stuff coming, and it's going to be good. And also, if I may say, obviously people that are watching are fans already of Just Paranormal. But I will say, dude, and I mean this from a producer to producer, I know the hard work you put into your materials, and dude, you're doing good stuff. Like, don't get frustrated with it, because it's hard to find people that actually ghost hunt and produce. It's a weird hybrid. And my philosophy is, if you're going to ghost hunt, you better film it. And if you're going to film it, you better film it good. And you're doing a great job, dude. I just want you to know that.
Well, man, I really appreciate it, dude. Like I said, I look up to you in the field. I really enjoy your stuff, and I can't say that about many people. And we do need to figure out a way, because I'm going to Madison for those watching. They get the exclusive. We're going to be filming a documentary there about Madison Seminary, but we need to figure out a way to get you down here, and I want to be a guest on RU, man.
I know, dude. I know. I need to get down to I haven't touched. I can only touch. We have like this, like the rule of the crew, because we're so spread out. It's like an 8-hour radius max.
You're
just
yeah, you are spread out. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. We're spread out over like 4 states. The crew, you know what I mean? Indiana.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, if worst comes to worst, whoever can make it, and I can fill in with our team, and we could just have like a collab thing going, man.
That would be awesome down the road, dude. I definitely, I was only down in Houston, Texas once. I was actually filming in Cody, Wyoming, and one of the airports I stopped, well, it was in Houston there. Isn't there like the George Bush Airport or something?
Yeah, yeah.
I was at that one. I literally touched down in Houston because it was one of my connecting flights. I was in Houston for 1 hour, and that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
Flight, so.
We like lead in sex trafficking. That's kind of cool, I guess. Depend on who you're asking on what side of it,
There's some, yeah.
Adam's like, I'm not even gonna touch on that one. That's too dark, man.
Don't crack a joke, Kimmel. Like, don't crack a joke.
Oh man, that's funny. Cool, man. Yeah, we'll get this going, and I can't wait to see you in November. We'll keep in touch in between then, man.
Absolutely, brother. Awesome time with you tonight, JP. Thanks for everything, man.
Thanks for being on, man.